Your phone is one of the most dangerous objects you own, not because of what it can do, but because of what it knows. It holds your memories, your passwords, your location, your private conversations, your identity, basically your everything. And the truth is, your phone is almost constantly exposed to opportunistic threats. I mean, not someone hunting you specifically, but systems and attackers scanning millions of devices looking for the easiest one to break into. So that's why in this video, I'll show you exactly how to harden your device using the latest guidance and recommendations. For starters, you must always use end-to-end encrypted messaging. Now, what does this actually mean? Well, it means the messages you send are scrambled so that only the people in the conversation can read them. Even your carrier, your internet provider, or even a hacker intercepting your network cannot see the content. Now, this is very different from traditional SMS text messages, which are not encrypted. If someone intercepts SMS, for example, through a compromised carrier network or even a SIM swap attack, then they can read everything in plain text. And for iPhone users, keep in mind though, Apple's iMessage does offer end-to-end encryption, but only when both users are on iMessage. So if a message falls back to SMS, then it will lose that protection. On the other hand, apps like Signal are built entirely around end-to-end encryption, support group chats, disappearing messages, and so on. And here I might also mention WhatsApp, which technically also has end-to-end encryption, but it collects more data and is owned by Meta, so I personally cannot recommend it with all the recent drama going on. Signal, in comparison though, it minimizes data collection and puts your privacy first. Still though, no matter which encrypted app you choose, encryption alone is not going to be enough. For example, you will still have to not scan random QR codes or accept group invites from strangers. You will still have to be suspicious if you get unexpected security alerts, and you will still have to limit your linked devices to only the ones you actually use and just remove everything unfamiliar. One of the most important things you can do is to use strong authentication, mainly passkeys and hardware security keys, which are basically the modern replacement for passwords and old school 2FA. Most people still rely on passwords and basic two-factor codes, but honestly, those things don't hold up against modern attacks anymore. Phishing tools today are so convincing that even tech-savvy people get tricked into entering their codes on many fake websites and interfaces. Passkeys, on the other hand, use cryptographic keys which are stored on your device or even a hardware token, and they only work on the legitimate website or app. So even if a hacker tries to trick you, the key just won't activate. When you sign in with a passkey, it will feel like one step, but behind the scenes, two factors are going to happen at the same time. Firstly, you will use something you have, which is going to be your device, like your phone, tablet, computer, and so on. And secondly, you will use something you are or something you know, like your biometrics, your face ID, fingerprint, or maybe even a device pin. This means the security of passwords and 2FA is built directly into the passkey itself, but unlike old school multi-factor authentication, passkeys are phishing resistant, not guessable or stealable, they're not really typed, and most importantly, they're unique for each website. So starting from most valuable accounts like your Google account, your Apple ID, emails, and so on, just enroll each one in this kind of authentication. They're usually labeled as passkeys on most platforms, and they're essentially software-based keys, but if you're really paranoid, you might even consider using a hardware key like a YubiKey or Titan key for stronger protection. Now, passwords are still one of the biggest weak points on most people's devices, not because attackers are incredibly smart, but because humans are predictable. We reuse passwords, we make short ones, we add 123 when a site forces us to update, but thankfully a password manager solves all of that. There are plenty of options like Apple Passwords, 1Password, Bitwarden, Keeper, ProtonPass, and so on. They all generate long, unique random passwords for every single account you have, and even better, these passwords are stored securely in your vault and are unique for each website, so one leak doesn't compromise all your accounts. And additionally, they also automatically alert you if your password is a weak one, if you ever reuse a password across multiple sites, or even if your password is leaked in a data breach. The important part to remember here is that your vault password, which is the main password that unlocks the whole password manager, that password needs to be extremely strong. This means long, unique, and random, not your birthday, not a code, not your favorite pet, so you really need to treat it seriously. Protecting your mobile carrier account, believe it or not, is something most people overlook, but it's something really critical because even if your phone itself is secure, attackers can still target your carrier to take over your phone number. This is called SIM swapping, and it's a really common trick to bypass passwords and two-factor authentication. Once they control your phone number, they can reset your passwords, intercept codes, and even access your accounts. Fortunately, you can set a telco pin, which is also called an account pin, with your carrier. Now, this is not the same as your SIM pin, which basically locks the physical SIM card, while the telco or the account pin protects your carrier account online or over the phone. Basically, your carrier will require this pin for sensitive actions like porting your phone number to a new SIM or maybe changing account details and so on. You probably heard people say always use a VPN, but the reality is that not all VPNs are created equal, and a random personal VPN is not really a substitute for real security. A lot of free or sketchy VPNs can actually increase your risk. They might log your traffic, they might sell your data, or even be vulnerable to attacks. In other words, you're just shifting your trust from your ISP to another company you don't control. Of course, a well-known VPN is generally better if you just want extra privacy, especially on public Wi-Fi or when traveling, and I would absolutely recommend that you use a well-known trusted one, but just remember that you never fully control the VPN company, so it should never replace the real security measures. Alright, finally, keeping your phone updated may sound boring and obvious, but this is honestly one of the most important security steps you can take. To a lot of people, keeping your phone updated is mostly about getting new features or UI changes, but these updates patch real vulnerabilities that attackers actively scan for. You might not realize this, but once a security flaw becomes public, hackers race to exploit devices that haven't been patched yet. And many attacks today are zero-click, meaning that you don't need to tap anything. Your phone can be compromised just because it's running outdated software. Both iOS and Android release rapid security responses specifically to fix these kinds of critical issues. And if you delay them even by a few days, then you're putting yourself in the window where attackers are most active. So what you should do is always turn on automatic updates for your operating system, whether that's iOS or Android. They're available in both systems. Always turn on automatic updates for all your apps, especially messaging apps, browsers, and anything handling sensitive data. And finally, don't postpone those small security patches when they pop up. This is one of the most simplest ways to harden your device, so always stay updated, stay ahead of the exploits. Now you know the important measures you can take to boost the security of your mobile device, whether you're using iPhone, Android, doesn't really matter. These measures apply to both systems. You can think of these measures as the baseline defenses, which are basically the essentials that make your device a hard target for attackers. But always remember that nothing is completely foolproof. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share with someone who might find it useful. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.